yeah, you're gonna need it. No bread, that's gonna be fun. Thank you. Like, I do have some training videos, but this doesn't take very long. And we'll just put up so you guys can get your hours. Sweet, love hours. I know it's hot. This rain has to be so good for the fire. Have you heard an update? And I thought,
Yes, I did. In fact, I got a notice, but I didn't read it. Let me. No.
no, the fire.
The fire.
It rained. Do you know, Tina?
I just got an update. Let me.
On the fire. The rain had to be good.
Oh,
Good.
and some of the. I hope.
Is Steve coming?
The people are allowed to go back in Hannaford.
Good.
I don't know. Okay. Okay. It showed up on the county commission agenda. So I thought he had.
That was news to me today.
But then he was adamant that he did not. And we don't know who put it on the agenda. It's not on there now. So I don't know.
We have 4.
So you just heard that he was, Jesse?
I just, when I was taking orders today, I was thinking, and then he had told me he wasn't gonna be here.
Yeah.
I knew he wasn't coming, so.
He didn't say anything to me. Other than denying.
So it's just some sort of hearsay.
Yeah, I think so.
All I knew was that he was coming.
Okay.
The agreement has held. We don't have any, now we're worried about flooding, so we have sandbags yesterday.
That was a load of fun. Sandbags.
Sandpacking. Doing it golf, doing it in county.
That's funny. Hey, you would have been impressed.
Yes, being that we burnt over 15,600 acres and have not had any.
Test.
But, are we live?
Yes.
Yeah, it's other things.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I.
Sandbag's one thing, it's picking them up. It's worse.
I will sandbag. Sandbagging is much easier than trying to unearth a road
Do you
that's
guys need
covered in
volunteers?
hard mud. We're gonna be there for at least a month.
Like on weekends?
No, they're all positioned where
Oh, you're
we,
saying they're staying.
This level, this fire goes straight, we go on for like another month. Before it's gonna be slapped out.
And then
If I say yes, Jesus laughs at me.
never mind.
That's cute.
That's cute.
thank you, Jana. I feel like I'm on mic. Okay, thanks, Kate. I called you Jana. See, sisters.
Okay, turn on your mics so can. Okay. Who's gonna take
Um,
the lead?
can I just talk a little bit before?
Sure.
And I know that we'll be, I know that we're gonna be talking about the Connex boxes for the most part, but a little bit before. I think we have an amazing team, and I love the collaboration. I think we're all doing absolutely amazing. If there's anything that anybody thinks that we might be able to do better, please feel free to talk amongst yourselves or bring it up to us individually. But we are trying to, improve on the camaraderie and the teamwork and everything else. We do want people to feel valued, and that's our customers, the public, or all of us, the employees and you as the planning commission. So please feel free to just whenever you need to talk about something, please feel free to ask questions. That way you feel like you can be as informed as possible before any meeting, during the meetings, whatever. So I know you got special rules that you have to go by, but it doesn't mean we can't talk. So I don't want to catch you mid-bite of a fry, but I do know that part of the Connex boxes, why we wanted to be able to talk about them was we know that the state came in and said that they are allowed to be used as storage containers. That's something no different than a shed. That is different than what has been in Morgan County in the past. We felt like this ordinance did need to be made. And correct me if I'm wrong, Janet, but even if a Connex box is currently on somebody's property, they would still have to meet any of the amendments that we talked about tonight.
Or are they grandfathered under no code?
For setbacks and all that. So yep. As far as anything else goes, so setbacks, they would be required to bring back or make compliant, as well as the only thing that they wouldn't be mainly required is their aesthetics, their looks. That is the one thing I will not be able to enforce. I've got it well documented. I haven't really worried about the agricultural ones, but I checked my list. There's 18 in residential units. So, and none of those are based on looks. They are all based on location. So just so you know, 3 of those are currently under a building permit. They can keep their product, for the contractors and that, they can keep their supplies in those Connex boxes legally. with a building permit, those are not included in my 18. So, to me, this is a very important code text amendment we're talking about, and I think it, everyone here, we don't want them in front yards. When I say front yards, I'm in violation of setbacks, and we don't want them being a nuisance to surrounding neighbors. I think that's really what it comes down to. So, thanks for your participation in it tonight. Really, it's going to be up to Kent to be able to make the discussion. So, you eat your couple bites and go from there.
Well, maybe I can ask Janet this. Right now, you can have accessory structures in the front as long as it meets the 30-foot front setback. Can we with these say, no, they have to be in the rear yard? Or can we not just separate these out from a regular?
My gut says we can. I mean, like, my gut says that we can also say, hey, they need to be a uniform color and painted a nice color and like, gotta be like 5 feet away from other things and those kind of things. I think we can.
We can say they need to be behind the house? Well, in resident, yes.
With that, I said it's going to be difficult to enforce the aesthetics part of it. Doesn't mean I can't ask, right? Doesn't mean I can't go up to somebody that might have some graffiti on the side of it and talk to them. And you know, just talk to them about the nuisance value with their neighbors and things like that. Be willing to comply. I don't think we'll necessarily have an issue.
Especially if we have it in the code. One thing I'm gonna mention is I pulled up the current state code and the size changed as of July 1st. And instead of under 200 square feet, it's 350 now,
Oh, wow.
as of July 1st.
So you don't need a building permit if it's under 350,
Correct,
unless
except,
it's human.
except if you're, you know, doing utilities or putting them together or things like that. Yeah, there's always gonna be some exceptions,
That's
but
just for shipping containers, then the 350
Comments?
Is that for all accessory? Is that
no, it's
Storage?
just a Conex box.
just Connex?
Yeah, it's an update to the IRC, and I can read it. It's sub 6, IRC section 105.2, a new exception is added. 11, grade level, non-connected Conex boxes, less than 350 square feet, used for storage only. So there's a few qualifier things that you need to make the exception for a building permit.
So an 8 by 40.
You're gonna make me do math in my head.
That's it.
Well, that's 320 square feet.
Yeah, you wouldn't need one?
That's
The longest shipping containers that we saw was like 40 feet.
Yeah, you got, yeah, standards are 20 and 40. And then you got those minis.
Do we need to put that information in our code, or we just defer to state as far as the building permit?
I think that we should have it in our code and then refer to the state statute because they'll amend it. And so that we're always compliant with that.
You got that?
I would just turn it, well, it doesn't matter. Am I just in a feedback area? Okay. Hello? Yep, thank you.
So can't maybe put in that reference to the state code as far as the square footage and
And then the other requirements to
Yes.
fit it. But with that, I wouldn't want to get confused with just because you don't have a building permit, you can't, like, through our ordinance, determine what is allowed as far as the, location, number, appearance, those kind of things.
So you require a land use permit.
Yes.
Does that need to be stated in here, or is that?
I think it should be.
Okay. I brought up to Kent before the meeting, in C, it lists residential and it goes to agriculture, but we do have rural residential. And so to include that zone in with agriculture, those are the RR1 and RR5 and 10.
So what I was kind of wondering is if we don't want to add a use table or add a line for Conex boxes in the use tables. Because I'm guessing not every commercial zone you're going to want them, like town center, those kind of things.
Okay.
This is only temporary storage, right?
It's storage only, yeah. And I do think that we want a pretty decent definition section and expand the definition for the portable storage containers. And make sure that we're specifically addressing this is storage only and, people can't live in them or work out of them.
Okay.
That's a real good point to work out.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
gardening even, like,
Any more than passing through.
Or craft.
it's,
That's
like,
what,
that's what I think. Garden shed.
So you can't, under this, you can't, in a residential zone, you can't just put one in your backyard to use permanently as a shed or shop or something.
that's,
That's the way this is written.
That's the way this is written. Now, I think there has to be some exceptions for temporary storage, like
Well,
if
there
you're
is for-
moving or,
There is for temporary storage in here, but there is no allowance for somebody who just wants to put it in their backyard.
In lieu of a tough shed.
Is there a reason? What's the reason for that? Like, a lot of people do it.
yes, some developments, well, CCNRs might not allow them. That's up to the CCNRs, right? And I think that should, them to regulate that.
we don't care.
Land use, that's not our determination. Our determination is that, we would allow them wherever they be. I look at it,
Wait,
but I think.
you
that
lost me there.
I think that we should allow them, and if somebody wants to not allow them, then they put that in their own restrictions.
I'm on that same page too. So how did we get here?
I think it's a good thing to discuss.
I interpret this as it allows storage containers in like agricultural, we were just including the rural residential.
Yep.
It just needs to be requirements of proposal 3 under D3, you're located in all setbacks for accessory structures.
In the ag zone.
Yeah, that's how it's currently written. session suggested we include rural residential with the agricultural zone.
But
Okay.
his question is,
Why not, why are we limiting people's ability to do it in other places?
I would recommend, my one thought regarding that is like, you don't want a big 40-foot Conex box be,
If you have an 8,000 square foot lot and you put, there may be some appropriate size things on here that you might even, not even be able to get it in there if you have
with the
rear setback
setbacks.
and setback from the primary dwelling or the primary structure or whatever. I generally would like to start on the other side and say, hey, you can do what you want on your property unless there's a reason why you shouldn't be able to do what you want on your property, instead of, hey, prove to me that you should be able. I would like to start from the other side and then maybe pare this back and say, well, why is it that we won't allow it here? Why wouldn't we want to allow this? And let people just do what they want on their property unless there's a reason not to.
So that's why I recommend, I think we should start with the use tables and figure out where you guys want them, or any places where you think should not be here or should be here, but with detailed limits, or, you gotta paint it, or.
I just think people fight for, I'm the president of all of our HOAs, and I know people fight to not, there are people that really love the HOA. They want that control, they want to know the uniformity, and but there's a lot of people out there that say, I don't ever want to live in an HOA, and I don't want HOA-like things creeping into, especially a county ordinance,
To be honest, there are a lot of communities that regulate it for size of lots and different things like that because of some of the things that you're mentioning. If we have to do it, that's
These
up to
kinds
you.
of things,
Recommendations.
these kinds of things come about because of the outliers, right? I'm in an HOA, and 80% of the people are in a really good situation. 10% of the people are a royal pain, but their place is gorgeous. And then there's another 10% that have turned it into hillbilly heaven, and that's what we're trying to deal with, because that creates the nuisance in the minds of us. So how do you allow personal individual freedom on property? 'Cause I'm a big guy on that. Without my neighbor turning my lot where all the flies gather because of what he does on his.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right.
So what is the intent here is to stop that extreme outlier, I'm thinking. So maybe the use process is the way to go.
And I'm sure we're not the first ones to try to skin this cat, so there's got to be a zillion of these out there that are well considered, or that we can, as far as the table goes, and the table including the size of the lot and what's allowed on that lot, and it's a lot easier just to steal somebody else's hard work and then modify it a little bit.
So 100%, when I first looked at this a year ago, I pulled some, and I think because the state law is fairly new, that people haven't caught up. So the bulk of the ones I found a year ago were 2 pages or a page, and really not much. So I can run another search for county stuff, other counties, and see what they have. But yeah,
Cities,
and that's mostly is what I found were cities that gotten it done.
yeah, I would think that the counties would lag just because people want more freedom. I mean, there's a reason why you live in the county, not a city.
And it's gonna have bigger impact in the city,
Yes. You have a lot more small lots.
and people, seeing it.
Yeah. I don't think we want a bunch of eyesores, and I don't think we want somebody's yard side to side, I agree, but we need to just identify what those are, without being too heavy-handed on everybody else.
Spot on.
Yep. There's always another nut.
make it amenable to the 80%.
Yeah.
Well, 10% good.
Do you notice he keeps pointing at me as the hillbilly and the 10%? It's an accurate thing. I would have cars all over my lawn if I could.
Right.
And badgers.
And badgers. I want a pet badger now so bad.
A what?
Last week we had foxes. You were on that post? Oh, sorry.
So I like the idea of the temporary use in a front yard or something like that where it's limited and people, you know, grandma dies or whatever and you put the dumpster in the front yard and you just haul out all that crap she's been storing for generations. Whatever. I would like to be able to make accommodations for that as well.
That's on page 2, for construction use. Actually,
Short-term.
construction remodeling projects. Maybe we could just put, and then we have short-term moving use, mention some of this.
If I might interject here, the temporary construction use is easy to enforce because I've got a 108-day permit that will expire in 180 days. So I can make them move it in that 180 days or shortly thereafter. If I'm doing it for grandma's miscellaneous product that she might have in the house, that makes it a different interpretation. So if you are going to do that, as the code enforcement officer, I would recommend you put a date, a timeline, or a time frame with that to make it easily enforced. That would help me.
Yeah, we have 30 days in any 12-month period, but that's short-term moving. But you're moving stuff out of the house, but is that what you consider moving?
I would classify that as moving.
Yep.
Moving to heaven.
That's what it is. Some. Too many of these, maybe not.
And obviously, the HOAs have not cut up with the Connex boxes yet, so they probably don't prohibit them yet. I'm assuming.
Or it's wrapped up into their storage sheds or limitations.
Yeah. I'm talking with Kent, in the commercial and manufacturing zones, dimensions are listed and that's gonna be moved up to apply everywhere across the board, not just in commercial.
So when I was sitting at home going through this, I was running a couple of hypotheticals. And actually thought it was pretty good. I think it stops the outlier, the negative outlier that causes all the trouble. But it allows commercial use and agricultural. If I'm gonna use them to store grain, you know, near my horse corral or something like that, it allows it with some caveats. But it stops me as a homeowner in a residential. I have a 1.4 acre lot. It stops me from, you know, putting a shipping container against my back fence next to my neighbor's property, which I know he wouldn't want. So
People with agriculture in section D allow up to a maximum of 2 containers per lot or parcel. That might be too much for a 1 acre lot, but there's some RR1, right? Where we draw the line, saying, well, if it's RR5, then you'd have 2
if I'm living on a 1 acre lot and I wanted to build myself a 20 by 40 shed, which is a good sized shed, I'd have to get a building permit for it. What's the difference between that and a Connex box side, or even two side by side of now 20 footers, 25 footers, now 40? You see where I'm going there? What's the difference?
And I see them where there's two of them there, and they have that roof structure that spans over them.
For the roof, they would be required to get a building permit.
Requirement down to minimum separation of 5 feet, would that be included with the roof? It couldn't be attached, right?
They would not be able to be attached, but they could have the covering for snow load, or, to keep the wet weather out. But yeah, they would be required to get a building permit for the canopy for that roof structure.
Can you put storage of animals in them?
Question that I'm not familiar with, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Right under our definition, it says
Chickens,
Yeah, because I could see a lot of people.
such as clothing, equipment, goods, household or office materials, merchandise. Doesn't talk about
Chickens.
animals, yeah.
The chicken coop?
I could see that. I could see that being, and you could make an argument that that's storage of animals.
essentially,
It's a cheaper barn.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but is that allowed?
As it currently is written, the definitions, I would interpret it's not allowed.
Well, you wouldn't lock them in there. It's just like almost. I'm thinking about what people would do in our county. I'm just thinking about what is rural zoned, allows agricultural use, especially if you don't have HOAs that minimize that. If you put this in place, I think a lot of people would use it, not closing them in, but keeping them open for protection for their animals in elements. I could see that happening. I'm just more than grandma's clothes.
I think you're kind of thinking about, it's not TikTok, but Pinterest. All those Pinterest, don't ask me how I know. It's all those Pinterest.
Whatever, we know how you know now.
And you do too.
Yeah.
It's all those Pinterest ideas, the creativity that people come up with are the kind of things that we have to have in our mind. So I'm glad that you brought it up.
Well, and I guess my question is to the point of land use, how is that different than building a barn, a small barn, other than a building permit? In terms of nuisance, if it looks good, if it's all these things, if there's no running utilities to it, no one's living, because you could argue, you could have a chicken coop next to it, which we don't require a building permit for those. I'm just thinking about how this is going to be interpreted. I see this, if we put this in the code. Maybe I'm wrong.
Do you see any potential where, give you an example. Old high school buddy in British Columbia raises mushrooms in them because of the perfect temperature, keeps the humidity in. You walk in, you've got stacked rows of
Creminis,
dirt,
you mean? Yeah.
manure.
Yeah.
They grow mushrooms, edible mushrooms.
Yeah.
Right, not the kind you're used to, the edible kind. Right. With the cars on the lot, right? Anyway, do you see something like
Badger.
the availability of a conditional use permit for someone to do a commercial activity like that would allow them on a commercial basis?
But if you're not selling it, it's not, if you were just, I would argue, then it's like, is that just gardening?
Store it, yeah.
Is that storage of your mushrooms? Because you're not selling them.
Well, it's a commercial operation. They sell the mushrooms.
Oh, okay. Well, if you wanted to grow mushrooms,
They have
you're not
rows of
selling them.
containers and they grow mushrooms in
Add
them.
that to the list of merchandise and mushrooms.
I guess I just go back to this, you read off here the things that you could possibly put in there, household item list. I just think, why are we approaching it from that angle? From here's what you are allowed to do, and only the things that I can think of in this list. versus start the other direction and say, all right, everybody can have one of these. Let's figure out what doesn't work. And just prohibit those things. It just seems like an odd way to approach this from the wrong direction. I would like to approach it that, hey, everybody should be able to do what they want on their property. Let's figure out what it is that we can't handle, can't stomach, should protect the neighbors, that sort of thing, and just prohibit those things.
Think we could come up with those that are, it is objective.
Well, I think you could do that through the setbacks, you know, like shoving it right against your fence so that it annoys the neighbor. You know, you got 20 acres and the guy's house is 30 feet from the fence that's 300 feet away from yours, and you decide to put the container right up against his house. I think that's annoying. Just things like that are objectionable. That's just my thought. People should be able to do what they want on their property unless we can figure out why not. And here, we still have the residential zones, you just can't have one unless you're moving in or out or building something. And I don't know why you would limit to one on a construction project. You know, if you've got a big house that you're building and the electrician wants to pull in a Connex box and the plumber wants to pull in a Connex box, I mean, some of these houses are ridiculous that are going into the county right now. So you're gonna see that, and they don't wanna share a Connex box, I can tell you that.
I think to Travis's point, and especially in here, if we can, and whether this is enforceable or not, have the idea that they're nice looking, right? Like,
Yeah.
And
If
it's
that-
enforceable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can require
That's the-
uniform color.
Yeah,
and
that it
paint like your-
matches.
And not bright pink, and
Yeah.
we can do those things.
Look at 4B. Is it too loosey-goosey or too vague? I know it's 4C. When it talks about painted to complement adjacent structures and kept in good repair.
Yeah, I would say that needs to be a general across all of them. You don't need to put the kept in good repair if you also make number 5. I mean, number 5 is for everything, right? So you don't need to say it twice. I think anything that gets repeated in the code is bad, because then they're gonna conflict over time.
and you're right, not just in commercial, well, I guess,
But
but everywhere,
Yeah.
that they should be nice looking.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if they're just there for construction. If they're temporary,
Well, that's true.
Even then, though.
you
I
want
mean,
them.
But you don't have to paint it to match the house that you're building.
Right.
Well,
right.
some places do.
But they
Not for
bring it in.
temporary.
I don't think we need to be that.
No,
place.
I'm just saying that is a thing. Some places.
So, for example, I know of a place directly in Ogden that has, on the way to the cemetery, construction company brought one in to redo the home, and it's loaded with graffiti on the sides. That's probably not in best interest to have rival gangs or anything like that might now just kind of go to that area, and they may provide a target or anything like that. So I like that it's at least amenable to the public.
Yeah,
Maybe
that they're
not
kept in
painted.
good repair and they're,
Colors are nice.
yeah, I don't think they have to be painted to match the house.
Correct.
Maybe you change it, you know, to match the framing, and then maybe to the tar paper, you know,
Creative.
so. But I think kept in good repair and not objectionable, something.
No neon
However you say
colors.
that.
Graffiti's always neon. I mean, not always, but a lot of times it's neon.
Mine's not, mine are earth tone.
You have earth tone graffiti at your
earth tone
house?
graffiti.
Yeah, I got it. So aesthetic. He's been on Pinterest.
Yeah, that was a giveaway.
So currently, accessory structures are allowed to be fairly close to the property height. They have maybe, some neighbors would be viewed as objectionable materials, the side would be chickens or farm animals. That kind of goes against my understanding of definitely portable storage containers. Just to me means you're storing something, you don't necessarily store animals.
I don't know, I can see people using it as a loafing shed, pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would we treat it different than a than a shed in the back. Don't we have setback requirements for a shed in the back?
Like 10 feet?
And that are gonna be taller than these things, because you've already limited these things to, you can't even buy the tall one, right? Or can you? Does it go to 9.5?
9.5.
So you can buy a tall one.
That's as tall as they come, as my research is
Yeah.
9.5
the
feet,
tallest.
about 40 feet in length.
Yeah, so you get the 8.5 standard or the 9.5 tall. So, I mean, you've just put a cap on it. Unless you come in for a special building permit and do, yeah, the roof thing on there.
Yeah, I would just argue that that would be probably too large for most residential zones.
Too large of an accessory structure.
For a storage, portable storage shed in a zone, to have a 8 foot by 41 by 9.5 foot.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, I'm saying we come up with that table
Of what makes
that
sense.
that matches the size of the Connex box to the size of the lot. And maybe there are some lots below which size you can't have.
I think I agree with you. But just playing devil's advocate to say this out loud. So if we say, okay, it fits on the lot and we're at minimum setbacks, are you okay with some of these higher density communities, specifically where you and I live, driving through and seeing a Connex box in everyone's backyard? Because some of these communities also don't allow fencing. Keep that in mind, because that's in the CCNRs. But Connex boxes didn't really exist when our CCNRs were written in a lot of places like where I live. So there's nothing on Connex boxes, but you can't have a fence. So I can't have a fence where I live for my CCNRs.
So you're just gonna be looking at your neighbor's Connex.
You're just gonna be looking at your neighbor's Connex box. So I think like, this is a fair, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. On some, and where I live, some of the lots now by us, they were historically acre lots, half acre. They're getting smaller and they're getting smaller like everywhere else in the county, but specifically where you and I live. So if you're, and I don't know everyone's CCNRs, I just know ours. They were written.
Have a fence.
We can't have a fence. Like the mountainscape. So our dogs have those collars. Ugh. Yeah, it looks great. I love
They
where I
don't
live.
enforce
I'm not
it.
complaining. Well, no, but you have neighbors who do if you're like civil. Yeah. And
But do they? Does the HOA?
No, the neighbors could
the
do that.
neighbors can go after civilly. Or they just peer pressure is what I found.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
HOA shaming.
Yeah, like, so I'm playing a devil's advocate because I know where I live, and if everyone had a Connex box on a half-acre lot with no fences, that might, I'm not saying I'm not saying I don't agree with it, just a thought.
It may be the thing that drives the HOA to come together and say, hey, let's amend
If there
the
is an
CCNR.
HOA. Still civilly.
Yeah.
There's,
But there should be a way to amend them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, but that is a good, there's a lot of chunk of the county, and I don't know what the rules are with Rome. I know they have some stuff with fences too, but there's some tiny lots in there, and if they had shipping containers, I'm just thinking out loud. There's some areas that we do not allow fencing in this county. Especially where we live.
I don't know. I think people should be able to do what they want. And if 3 people in your neighborhood put in shipping containers and it makes everybody mad, then they're probably.
You sue 'em?
You can't.
Well, yeah, you can't, unless you sue
Unless
to get
they
a
are in the
fence.
CCNRs. But what you could do is unite and say, hey, these CCNRs are outdated. We need to either get together and repeal them completely, remove them, or amend them.
Or do you only allow shipping containers in rural residential? And not high-density
But there's-
residential.
Yeah, well, and maybe
Maybe
there is,
that's-
and maybe there
that's
is a
the
lot so
cutoff.
small
There-
that you just say, you know what,
Doesn't make
There
sense.
is no size to put in here that makes sense.
Container's the size of the house. It's
That may be true. That may be a good way to address it in that table.
in that table. Because rural to me, I think like, okay, storage, like when you think rural, which is 0.46 acres, is our smallest in rural, yeah? But then smaller than that, which is what a lot of the new development is. I'm just, yeah.
But I would guess that all of the new development has CCRs.
But some of them don't allow fencing. I don't think Rome does. And we can try to find it. But this came up in a meeting like a year or two ago.
But Rome is not built out, so I'm sure the declarant can just, like on all of mine, I can just say, I don't want containers in here, and I can just sign a piece of paper, boom, they're banned in the whole thing as the declarant. So,
And that's up to them, but it also might make our county look really ugly. That's all I'm saying when people go to lease and drive through, and now you have a ton of shipping containers, and that's their decision. We can't enforce
be a
that.
ton.
They're in the backyard.
I mean,
But the backyard is oriented all ways on Old Highway. Like the backyard is not behind the road. The backyard is the side yard from some views, right? Back is relative. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying I don't agree with you. I just think that this is the time to have this discussion before we write code.
I agree. I think we ought to consider the table.
I think a table's a
I
great
think the
idea.
table-
And then we can look at square footage lots maybe, and then look at rural versus high density.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe if we can find examples of the county, a few examples of kind of what Maddie's talking about, where when we do the table, we can say, hey, here's a couple of examples in our county of this.
Bring pictures.
What we're looking at, yeah. Just a few pictures.
Oh, that's something.
In residential.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe you can say this, Chris, these 18 you're talking about, you're obviously, we want this code for a reason. Are they a nuisance or what's I know we have to for state reasons.
I would dare say that half of them were complained about, and the other ones are whatever I want, it's my problem. So,
The ones that are complained about.
You tell us why.
What is the complaint?
Yeah.
it's because of the Connex box.
They're ugly.
Just the fact that it exists, not that it's too close, they shoved it over by my house.
Just ugly.
Full of graffiti or anything else. I just don't want it there.
I just don't want it there.
Are they small or large lots?
They're the smaller ones.
There you go.
They're the smaller.
Smaller
ones.
as in,
Less than an acre would be safe.
We got
to
some
say.
half acre in Peterson that,
See,
Less
that's,
than an acre are the ones that could.
That makes sense.
and usually those, just because people have smaller lots does not mean they build smaller houses in Utah. I learned this at a planning conference. We have the largest square foot house in the country, but we're the 15th smallest lot in the country. And so people buy smaller lots but build the biggest house they can. So when you take your building envelope, even if you're meeting setbacks, spatially, it might look horrible.
yeah.
Right? So I'm just devil's advocate. So you are finding that of those, they are smaller lots they're getting complained on.
Generally, most people don't like the Connex boxes because they look industrial.
Which is fair. I think that's a fair,
they do.
they do.
Industrial lot.
That's why we have work sessions.
You guys might have already talked about my thought, but I don't know. The limitation on construction may be quite a constraint that I noticed. And you guys probably talked about that already. Okay. Yeah, just one per construction site. Most of them, that'll be fine. Several of them, or some construction lots,
They need more than one.
They do.
That's,
especially for
Travis brought that
renovations
up.
and, yeah.
We tie that to the size of the lot.
No, I think it's actually more with the type of project than the size of the lot. Renovations, like, I've done projects where we have 25 of them on site because we're renovating 25 apartments that people are living in daily. So it's just the type of construction that's going on rather than lot size.
There's some things, let's say a structure fire. Some of the material gets badly damaged. You're putting that in one, you're putting the stuff you can salvage in another. Then the remodeling company might come in, they might need theirs. However it might work, right? But there are different reasons that two would be beneficial.
Absolutely.
It's temporary.
Very
Yeah.
That's like the least amount of concern.
But
Yeah,
any
I think that
construction company is going to
temporary
get it
or-
off if they
You
can.
just gotta have them.
Yeah, because they're paying money to have them there. So
Yeah.
it's not like they're leaving on versus like you're buying one, you know, I think construction to me is
That's different, yeah.
transient use.
We put a number on that or not?
I would say, I'd say be hard to put a number on it.
Yeah, I agree. Portable storage containers may be used during active construction.
Yeah, for temporary purposes during active construction only.
These big houses, I can see three
Several.
or four, 20-footers out there.
Absolutely.
Plumber's got one, the electrician's got one,
Yep.
you know.
Now, the one thing I would, when we're talking the temporary, we're putting them on site, correct? We're not, because you see it quite a bit. They pull up on the road, and if you have a bunch of them in our right of way,
I'm guessing that's already covered by something else.
That's trailers more than,
But I like the specification,
On site.
property,
on site.
obstructing sidewalk, and
yeah, absolutely.
It
Well,
says you're already
point of
not
view.
in the public right of way, fire lanes, easements, designated parking or landscape.
Easements.
Or creating blind intersections or doing things that create risk to other people by the placement.
You might have a problem with easements there. Why can't it be on an easement?
Because they'll be on a public utility easement,
They're probably
easy
gonna be on
peasy.
PUE.
But
Yeah.
The PUE guy, they can just demand that it be moved, or they can move it, charge it, whatever. They've got ways of dealing with that.
That's a good point.
easements, I agree with, but it should be on the site, not in the public right of way.
In fact, when I do my plats for townhomes, I got sick of dealing with Rocky Mountain Power's attorneys. So I just say, everything on the site is an easement except for under the structures. So if you said I can't park one on an easement, then you just said I can't use it. And maybe I'm not the only person that does it like that.
That's the first time I've heard that.
That's good, generous.
What's that?
So that's generous.
I just, yeah,
Yeah.
it hasn't bit me
Oh, good.
in 20 years.
Good.
So I'm good.
Knock on wood.
Kent, do you think we have enough information that we can kind of go back and adjust?
Yeah, if there's any more discussion we need to have. I think the big takeaway that I have is we essentially want to redo this draft. So it's permissible except for certain setbacks need to be, and have a use table.
Yeah, I think the use table is gonna spark a whole nother round of discussion.
Especially in the commercial zone, like you say, town center, I don't,
Yeah.
Small lots is where I'm personally struggle, but
all lots and that's certain commercial zones, maybe not.
What size lot? I mean, I may mention that mainly it's the acre less. What size lot would you have on your minds that would be the smallest size lot that you would feel comfortable putting the restrictions on?
We want to base the lot with the size of the container.
I think the lot size, yeah, I think there's gonna be some size of lot below which it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And then there's gonna be a range between that and another size that, maybe it's a maximum
Smaller.
of 20 feet. And then above that, you can have 140-footer or whatever. And then on these big agricultural pieces,
yeah,
I don't know why we're limiting. I mean, maybe there's some obscene amount, I don't
We have a
know.
container farm.
A container
Yeah.
farm.
I agree with you on ag. It's ag. They're it's probably used and stored and great for what they're doing.
Cheap storage.
Yeah.
And those zones are set away from main residential, well, not everywhere.
Lot 820 behind the
There's a-
rural residential.
Behind but there is a break,
Yeah.
So,
Maybe there is something to say that if the ag is next to a residential neighborhood, then, maybe there is a little bit of a setback there.
Buffer.
more of a Setback. If they have a bunch of them, then 3 or 4, yeah.
So you mentioned buffering. It's the first time we've really talked about the buffering. Ideas?
yeah,
You mean screening?
We need more?
I don't think it's a horrible idea. I don't know if you were in here. There's a lot of places that have CCNRs or HOAs that maybe we don't know about today in this room. I live in one of them where we can't have a fence. And so I'm thinking if a lot of my neighbors that are on half-acre lots put shipping containers that are massive, and we're not allowed to have fences,
That acts as a fence.
the neighborhood becomes an eyesore really quickly. And I think,
So maybe in residential zone, there needs to be screening.
Why don't you just allow them, and then everybody can call it a fence, they can use it as a fence,
Yep.
and everybody can have this network of storage.
That'd be amazing.
I'm moving to Huntsville.
That's a workaround for your CCRs.
Connect them all, have a tunnel system.
Oh, gosh.
You put them underground. Have you seen those? They make
They're
into pools.
cool.
So
We can
I was
make
actually going
pools.
to ask about that.
Yeah, shipping container pools, storage of water
Well,
in the floor.
shipping container
can't do
pools,
it.
but store like cellars. They're super
Storm
easy.
center, like a
No.
cellar.
I
Yeah,
can
just
tell
vegetable
you
cellars.
that there are 3 properties in Mountain Green that have storage containers, swimming pools.
Yeah.
They
always
found
They're cool.
They are engineered. The only aspect I have with it is they put the pool in without getting permits, which would include electrical, plumbing,
Life safety.
and there's no 6-foot fence around those, which, you know, the building code's changed, so that's a
Wait.
whole different,
So they just cut the lid off?
Yes, and put them in the ground.
the flatter inside.
It's always our people, Travis. Just keep that in mind. It's always our people.
It's a company from British Columbia that did it. I've been in communication with them. They sent me all the information.
And they're fairly inexpensive. And they look nice. They do.
And they store water,
Yeah.
storage.
Or just one?
Just one.
They're very commonly used for ranges, for firing positions from ranges, and containers.
Yep.
Containers will limit vertical elevation of long guns from that position, so they limit where the bullet impact area is. Containers used a lot on ranges.
But to answer your question, I think an acre, half acre, because that to me is, and even that's not really rural in our county. I think a lot of people in other parts of the county besides Mountain Green would argue that an acre is very urban in certain parts of our county. But I think you have to be county-wide. So maybe it's an acre, maybe it's a half acre. Below that to me feels high density for where we live in our current county, because we're not Salt Lake.
That you don't want any allowed.
He asked what my definition was of rural or that size. I think that's where we definitely, I don't, personally, I don't know that I would want one on a 30-acre lot, because the houses on the 30-acre lots take up the whole lot, it seems. A lot of the builders, if you drive around.
So then maybe it's a coverage thing.
Yep. Lot percentage.
Coverage.
I don't know. I've lived on a 30-acre lot. I had a big house, but I would like to add a storage
Container.
I think a 11 by 14 shed works good on a quarter lot.
Yeah.
which is almost exactly the same size.
So maybe that's where the size comes in.
Lot coverage.
It's really just the look, like you were saying. It's an industrial look versus a tough shed look.
Well, and it's cheaper than building a nice big storage barn or garage or something
By
like
a lot.
that. So it does have its stigma.
Hey, now
Us
listen.
hillbillies.
How many of you are, it was environmentally friendly? This is the super environmentally friendly. Like,
Recycling.
for everybody that is environmentally conscious, they should be 100% in favor of reuse of these things. Instead of,
I think they're awesome.
there you go, see?
Salt,
And we're gonna put chickens in them.
Chicken.
low Pinterest.
I really think that's what's gonna happen, but maybe I'm wrong. That's like a thing.
Well, I don't care if they put chickens in them. You know, if they're
I don't
shutting
either.
the door in the summer, they're gonna have dead chickens.
Yeah, maybe health and safety, like they have to have breathable room.
But you also have some requirements as far as how many animals you can have and farm animals and things like
Eat
that.
cows.
I'm guessing this is covered elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not getting
I think you
into
should be able to do what you want when you're stupid.
that.
Totally.
We're gonna go by Travis's house and he's gonna have like
We don't wanna
4
cut.
storage containers.
I am.
I'm gonna graffiti them with hot paint, spray paint.
So Camp, you've got enough to go on?
We'll take another stab at it. Yeah, I just noticed that this has been worked on for, what, over a year?
I think we'll move quicker on them.
Okay.
I think we're sitting at a good place. And having these discussions, I think, is important with the team.
you gonna have a chance to get input from, before you write it again, from the county the commissioners? Because
We'll bring it back to
we could take the greatest thing back to them and then they start over.
Right, that's
I
the
know.
challenge, that's the challenge.
Rather than
right?
waste your time, our time, are you gonna get, is there a way for you to get feedback before
Well,
you?
there was they've already had a discussion. One commissioner was adamant for them, wanted them, the other was no,
Sure.
so, and they were going back and forth.
that one has a couple, so, yeah.
Yeah, and the other said, and I don't want my neighbor to have one, I don't want to have to look at it, Conex box. He wanted them landscaped.
I mean, we could email them the draft, the next one.
We'll just give it to him.
Or they, yeah.
For the last half hour, do you guys want to?
Yep, might as well.
Cannot imagine how exciting these things are.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Your topic that you would like to see, they have all kinds, this is in alphabetical order, but there's even more videos. You can go to the Utah Land Use Institute, and there's a lot of training materials that would be very helpful.
We had so much time that we're supposed to put in every year.
Yep.
It seems like there was something we were supposed to do when we first get on.
Yeah, conditional, we'll do conditional uses, yeah.
Or that green one said smooth pipes, that's whatever you guys think.
Pick one.
Just,
I like that green one looks fun.
okay, then push it.
Do it.
What is a CUP? Acute useless process? Careful, use precisely. No, a CUP is a land use term for conditional use permit. Conditional use means a land use that, because of its unique characteristics or potential impact on the municipality, surrounding neighbors, or adjacent land uses, may not be compatible in some areas or may be compatible only if certain conditions are required that mitigate or eliminate the detrimental impacts. It is an effort to attach conditions that minimize the potential harmful impacts of a use that a community has already decided it wants in an area. The bottom line: if we do it right, we can attach conditions to help it fit in the neighborhood and reduce any bad effects.
Fast one.
We need the next conditional use.
Good evening, and welcome to the Land Use Academy of Utah Forum on Conditional Uses. My name is Brent Bateman. I'm the lead attorney in the Office of the Property Rights Ombudsman, and I'll be your moderator for this forum. There's been a lot of discussion about conditional uses and how to approach them. In this luau video, we would like to delve into the details about the conditional use statute and hopefully clear up any confusion. And to help us do that, we have assembled a panel of some of the most distinguished and experienced land use minds in the state. First, we would like to welcome Mayor Floyd DeBarber from the town of Henryville, Utah.
Thank you. We're glad I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, Mr. Mayor. Next, we have County Planning Commissioner Eileen Dover from Logan County. Welcome, Commissioner. Glad to have you. And finally, please welcome City Attorney Martin Prince from the firm of Prince and Muntz PC in Springdale. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So glad that you could all take time out of your busy schedules to be here and to help us with this discussion on conditional uses. Now, I'd like to throw the first question out to you, Mr. Mayor, if that's okay. Now, the first question. Mayor, imagine a developer came to your town's planning commission with a conditional use application to build a large dog kennel, proposing to house over 50 dogs in a residential zone. The question is, what is the first thing you would normally do?
Thank you, Brent. Well, my concern obviously is for the citizens of my city, my constituents, the neighbors in that residential zone. Now, dog kennels can be noisy and smelly. Now, My constituents will not want a noisy, smelly kennel in their neighborhood. So we must deny the application outright.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, but that answer is absolutely incorrect. Now I'll throw the question open. Anyone else? Anyone? What is the first thing we must do when we get a conditional use permit application? This question is worth 10 points. Yes, Planning Commissioner Dover.
The first thing to do is to check your code to determine if the dog kennel is a permitted use, a conditional use, or a prohibited use in that zone. If it is a conditional use, you would apply the law of conditional uses to that application.
Congratulations, Planning Commissioner Dover. That answer is absolutely correct. 10 points to you. Now, Commissioner, you may take the difficult follow-up question or pass.
Difficult follow-up? I think I'll go ahead and pass, Brent.
Ooh, yeah, putting pressure on the other contestants. I like that. Okay, so the follow-up question goes to you, Attorney Prince. And this one is worth 20 points. Are you ready? Here's the question. You've noted that the dog kennel in question is listed as a conditional use in the zone. According to state law, can you now deny the application because dogs are noisy and smelly? And in order to help our studio audience, we will show the state statute on conditional uses. Remember that our panelists cannot see the statute, so please do not shout out the answer. Your answer, Attorney Prince. Can the application be denied?
Well, let me think here, Brent. The state statute states that a conditional use shall be approved if reasonable conditions are proposed or can be imposed to mitigate the reasonably anticipated detrimental effects of the proposed use in accordance with applicable standards. That means that if we have listed a dog kennel as a conditional use in a residential zone, our city wants dog kennels in the zone, and we shall approve them if reasonable conditions can be imposed to mitigate the detrimental effects. We can only deny the application if we cannot substantially mitigate the detrimental effects by imposing reasonable conditions.
Time's up now. Is that your final answer?
Our city listed the dog kennel as a conditional use, so in most cases, we cannot deny the dog kennel's conditional use application.
Congratulations, that is correct! Well done, well done. 20 points to you, and the correct answer has earned you a bonus question for 10 points. Are you ready? Are you nervous? Okay, here we go. Your 10-point bonus question. What conditions can you impose?
I presume the detrimental effects of a kennel with 50 dogs would be noise from barking and probably smell from the dogs. So the city would impose a reasonable condition that would reduce the neighbor's ability to hear the barking noise, such as requiring the kennel to be kept at least 1,000 feet from other homes. You would also impose a condition that would reduce the smell, such as requiring cleanup and sanitary waste disposal.
Judges, can we accept that answer? Sorry, I'm sorry, but you are only partially correct. You have omitted a critical factor. Yes, Planning Commissioner Dover.
The conditions you impose must comply with standards in your ordinance.
Very good! And that's 5 points to you. Yes, your next step is to determine the detrimental effects and impose reasonable conditions to mitigate those effects. But those conditions must comply with standards in your ordinance. You cannot just make conditions up. Very good. Now, before we continue, Gary, please tell our panelists what today's prize is.
Brent, tonight's winner will receive this beautiful lounge set valued at $1,500.
Thanks, Gary. Now, on to the next question. Are you ready? What is the meaning of the term standards set forth in an applicable ordinance? Mr. Mayor! Yes?
Could you repeat the question?
Oh, I'm sorry, that is incorrect, Mr. Mayor. Attorney Muntz, now is your chance to steal.
Could I ask you to repeat that question?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is also incorrect. So, it is up to you, Planning Commissioner Dover. This question is worth 50 points, which will put you comfortably in the lead. Are you ready? What is your answer?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure, no problem. I'll repeat the question. What is the meaning of standards set forth in an applicable ordinance?
The state statute requires that any condition that you impose upon a conditional use comply with standards in your ordinance. Standards are like goals that you have for your community that reflect what your citizens would like the community to be. They must be in your ordinance and should be objective and measurable. So, if you have a standard in your ordinance on noise, you can impose upon the dog kennel a condition that they take measures to reduce the noise to comply with the standard. If you don't have a standard on noise, you cannot impose a condition on noise. Thus, you will need to approve the dog kennel without imposing a noise condition.
Oh, congratulations! That is absolutely correct. Very well done. So, at the end of our first round, the score is Mayor DeBarber, 0 points. Attorney Muntz has 15 points and in the lead. Planning Commissioner Dover with 65 points. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and now it's time to move on to our lightning round. I'm going to say your name and then ask you a question about conditional uses. Each question is worth 10 points. Are you ready? Here we go. Mr. Mayor, what three things are found in most local zoning codes?
Voting booths and people that vote and constituents.
I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Most codes contain permitted uses, conditional uses, and a statement that if a use is not listed as permitted or conditional, it's a prohibited use. Commissioner, are you required by law to include conditional uses in your zoning code?
No.
That's absolutely correct. You do not need to include conditional uses in any code. Attorney Muntz, what is the standard of review for a conditional use application?
Well, conditional uses are an administrative decision that can be made by whatever administrative body is appointed to that task by the local legislative body. Oftentimes, conditional uses are decided by the Planning Commission, but do not need to be. The standard for review for an administrative decision is substantial evidence in the record. That means if your conditional use decision is supported in the record by substantial evidence, it is not arbitrary and capricious and will be upheld.
I'm sorry. Your answer was absolutely correct, but it was way too long and lawyery. Mr. Mayor, when an unpopular but legal conditional use application causes an uproar in your community, and hundreds of angry citizens come to the Planning Commission meeting to express their frustration and to demand that you say no, what is the proper action to take?
Take their side, deny the application, and win lots of
Wrong! The correct answer is follow the law and make an evidence-based decision even if it's unpopular. Commissioner, what do we do with public clamor?
That sounds like a great subject for a future Luau video, Brett.
Absolutely correct! 10 more points for you. Now, Attorney Muntz, what is the difference between public clamor and evidence?
Well, Brent, evidence is the substance of...
Wrong! I'm sorry, that is incorrect due to the fact that you are going to be boring and lawyery again. And that means Planning Commissioner Dover is our winner! Yay! Yay! All right! And that is our form for conditional uses for today. Please join us tomorrow for another Luau Forum on complicated legal matters, where more fabulous prizes will be given away. We'll see you then. And remember, if you have something listed as a conditional use that you always want to deny, change your ordinance to make it a prohibited use. If it's conditional, that answer will usually be yes. See you next time.
There's quite a few of our conditional use permit, like, we don't have standards.
Oh, that was interesting.
We do, yeah.
There's some that don't have standards.
Yeah, we have standards listed in our code,
But you don't know that the standards that you need
Right.
are in the code.
A lot of
for
them
all
are
the conditions.
environmental.
Yeah.
Yeah, the states kind of put some pressure on local jurisdictions to kind of get away from conditional uses. It's more
Permitted or
straightforward
not.
to have permitted or not. And where I've worked at Saratoga Springs, they don't have conditional uses. It's either permitted or not. It's usually you can kind of reasonably anticipate what is allowed or not.
And therefore, the standards for that are wired in.
Are wired into the, yeah. Code. That would make our life a lot easier. What? Mm-hmm. Okay, we can take a little break before a regular meeting.
How much time do we have to have per year?
4 hours.
3 hours?
4,
It's
but
4.
Let me
that's
look
my
up
memory.
4.
And are we, can we do these on our own? What are we allowed to do and what are we allowed to count?
That's a very good question. This would definitely count.
I think it's 4, Debbie, but I could be wrong.
Just a minute. It says, required annual training. Required to complete all according to state code, 1 hour of annual training on general powers and duties with county attorney and zoning administrator. 3 hours of annual training on land use, which include, and they list them, appeals and variances, conditional use permits, extractions, impact fees, vested rights, subdivision regulations and improvement guarantees, land use referenda, property rights, real estate procedures and financing, zoning, form-based and use-based, and drafting ordinances and code that complies with state statute. So we need 1 hour of general powers and duties, and then 3 hours of
The 1 hour
Land use.
is specifically with,
county attorney and zoning administrator.
Yeah, these videos, there's a whole bunch of them. Some of them are kind of comedic or funny or humorous, but others are really more serious. So there's a wealth of information out there.
yeah, I first saw this when I went to a Harriman Planning Commission board meeting. And they just, as a matter of course, they just shut off the lights, fire up the next video and use up whatever time they have left to watch these videos.
What?
Can
Utah
we do these on
land use
our
things.
own, I guess is my question. Can I count every other planning commission meeting that I go to? What is that?
I think it's a Josh question, because I think he was interpreting that either you had to go or it had to be attorney or zoning administrative led. But I think that's
But I
as
think
interpreter.
our 1 hour annual training on general powers and duties, so we can do that because we're redoing our bylaws. So that discussion, I think,
That and
could
and,
fall into that.
and normally Garrett does the Open Meetings
Mm-hmm.
Act, and
But as far as our powers and duties, and our bylaws will address that.
Wait, did that answer my question? I don't
No.
think so. Can I
I
watch
think
these
it's-
on my own?
you can watch it on your own. I don't know if
No,
it's going
I
to
don't
count
think
as
it counts.
credit. I think you need Josh, because he's the code interpreter,
To do what?
to tell you whether or not he says it'll count.
Can you find an answer for that or somebody get an answer?
They are.
You can go to one in person.
What?
There's trainings in person, conferences.
There'll be
They're
one coming up
actually
in the
kind of
fall.
fun.
Yeah, they are.
I'm serious.
I don't know if anything is set up where we can watch it at home, but Jeremy would know, yeah, I mean, that we have to log in, you know what I,
Like
you know
a
what I mean?
monitored
That monitor
viewing?
it, I mean, that shows that you watched it. You know, if you click, yeah.
That'd be
Well, I
great.
guess they don't know, you don't know if you paid attention or not, but that it was at least playing.
But are you going to pay attention if you go to Provo either?
Right, I know,
I did get one good fact, that we have the largest house on the 15th smallest lot. No. Utah. No,
Yes,
Utah.
Jerry,
Utah
see?
is the largest house
He
in the
comes.
country.
He's really easy to summon.
I will get with Josh and see if there's any know before training. That's what you're talking about, is that you can log into in relation to planning. I don't know if there is or isn't.
Okay.
Or just self-reporting this.
That's way beyond my purview, buddy. But if there's a know before, then we can definitely do that, just like we do security training, everything like that.
Shipping container chickens.
Nice. Do it.
That was really good. Shipping container parts.
No.
It's a fun search. Just did it. I'm serious.
I went and moved in our apartments in Williamson. For some reason, that coincided with this chicken craze. Every meeting I went to, everywhere, every planning commission, every city council, it was chickens.
And sourdough.
Every freaking time.
Yeah, it was chickens and sourdough. They just took off. Yeah, it was like COVID. Everyone was like homesteading. That's like a thing now. Everyone is doing it.
Hey, Chris, what do you know about
My
shipping
daughter,
containers that are burned
She
out?
only burned all the is from South Africa.
Yeah.
She lets it burn that longer.
Yeah.
It's so much better for you. It tastes better. We just got our
No.
stove for that. I haven't made sourdough yet. My starter's in the fridge, but maybe.
I know, that's a fun conversation, isn't it?
Your kitchen is almost done. It's exciting. We got the market. And these markets are so good for cumbersome, so they cut to it and it's there's like an extension, but it's kind of a biatch. They've remade them since we ordered them, and apparently the things are easier. My husband did them. He's like, Brian's cursing at me. I was like, no. So you have to cut a hole where it templated. No, you've got the electrical box, but it has to be in that hole, in that box. So they come in and they template. You see, that's the hole. All the wires, they countersink it. So I gave them the conventional cover. They do a countersink it. So they countersink the marbles. They put it, so it has like a little divot out of the top.
We have a grad shop.
Yeah, this is so cool.
So we do all this. We have a big fridge
Yeah.
shop and so we do all that.
This is my favorite thing. This was today my trough got installed. So this is a livestock trough from France with 60 pounds. That's what this is. For animals. Someone probably feeded it at one point, and now I'm using it as a part of it. Yeah, our patio's getting. No, I push no cover. It's okay. Which it does get hot, southwest, but I also love like cools down at night. Yeah, those are the big. We're still living in the basement, but we're at least. It was a big deal. It's such a sweet.
How long has it been torn up?
15 months. Want to see my kitchen? Stove's in.
Oh. Progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have plumbing.
Nice.
So it was a big indicator. Now we just have touch up heat. Hardwood stairs are going in this weekend. I have a fridge. And it has food in it. That was a big deal. And I have it's a shrimp fridge in the island that looks like a cabinet. And it's just LaCroix. Like flavored sodas, Ollipops, Poppies. That's what we need. And then in my guest can have a fridge, so I don't have to go like a big messy fridge. Anyway.
Let me show you what I've been making.
Oh, side salad.
This is, so when I was a teenager, I made sword toys.
Yeah. You have a wood shop? You can do a shipping container wood shop.
I made my daughter. That's what I made my daughter that crib. So I made trains when I was a teenager. These are the little.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. And so all these pieces come on.
This is your wood shop.
Yeah, that's
Is
my.
this like your house?
That was orphanage. I welded all these stabilizers up.
Do you do this as a side hustle or do you just do it as a hobby?
Pick one triangles and make those for friends.
When do you sleep?
And then when I was a teenager, these are kind of updated versions.
Yeah.
But this tugboat, you see, that tugboat I made when I was like 17, 18. And these are updated versions there. They have brass in them. I went, my son rebuilt a big gunsmithing lathe, and so I went over there and turned all the brass.
You need to bring these hometown Christmas and sell them up here.
So that would be terrible.
Why?
Oh, that,
I'd just rather give them away.
well, I know.
But this is my daughter's dad. Yeah.
Well, let your daughter sell them.
Yeah. It's a great idea. Or do it as a fundraiser. Or
Fundraiser,
like
yep.
donate to like
That little rocket horse I made, that was another thing I made. You do that.
It's real. It wouldn't be new. Take prayer.
Sure.
I think we're working back around. There's short people in between. I'd like to call this meeting of the Planning Commission to order. It's Thursday, August 13th, 2026. And I've asked Member Taylor to offer a word of prayer, and then if everyone would rise with us and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to be here, to be able to serve, to live in this great nation. We're grateful for those who serve us, and we're grateful for those residents here that we can be a part of their lives, a part of the community. We're grateful for this opportunity we have to discuss matters of the county. We ask that you bless us, that we will be able to consider those carefully and be inspired to make the right decisions and recommendations. We ask you to bless those that are protecting us and may be watched over and be safe, be with their families. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next item is the approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Member King
Second.
and a second by Member Watt. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Declaration of conflict of interest with any item on the agenda by a member. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Now the time for public comment. The items on the agenda tonight are all legislative, and so they each have their own public hearing. So we request if you do have a comment regarding any item on the agenda, that you wait until we open the public comment time to make your comment. But now's the time for general public comment if you would like. And we'd ask that you come up and state your name, and we limit comments to 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to our first item. This is the public hearing discussion decision on the Anderson rezone.
Commission, this is a rezone request. The application number is 26.014, and it's labeled as the Anderson rezone. And it's located at 2685 West Old Highway Road. The current zoning is RR1 and Agriculture 20. The general plan designation is Village Low Density Residential, which is half-acre lots. So this rezone request is in line with the future land use in the general plan. So the county staff believes that the proposed zoning map amendment from AA1, RR1 and A20 to R120 is consistent with sound planning principles. There's adjacent lot that's also zoned R120. So it seems to make sense. The subject property is located in proximity to existing water infrastructure operated by the Central Enterprise Water Association. Of course, the applicant will need the approval of the Weber Morgan Health Department for the location and type of the septic system. So staff recommends approval for this rezone request. If you have any particular questions, I'll be glad to address those at this time.
Okay, any questions for staff? Apparently not. Do you?
I actually did have one.
Okay.
So I was just looking, maybe this is neither here nor there, but I was looking at the plat map, and really not so much the plat map, just the aerial of the separation, and we're just the only parcel that's included in that is the A20. Right, go to the next one. Right there where it's pointing, not the one further down, right?
Correct.
And then going to the next page, it kind of looks like it is, so it might just be a simple adjustment.
Yeah, it's just the one lot.
Right, but it's also showing up here that it's. Oh, maybe it's just zoomed in.
I think this is the lot, but this is just showing that all this is a.
But it zoomed in more, yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's still
It's
just
just
the one
zoomed in
lot.
further than
Yeah.
I noticed before. Okay, never mind, we're good.
Okay. You're gonna have any questions for the applicant? Assume you're the applicant. there's no questions, we will have a motion to go into public hearing.
Motion.
Okay, a motion by member Watt.
Second.
Second by member Maloney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Voting is unanimous. We are now in public hearing. Anyone in the public would like to make a comment, now would be your time. Seeing none, ready for a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by member Maloney and a second by member Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are out of public hearing. Is there any more discussion from the commission on this rezone? If not, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make one. I move we forward a positive recommendation to the county commission for the Anderson rezone, application number 26.014, changing 2.91 acres from RR1/A20 to R120, based on the findings listed in the staff report dated August 3, 2026.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by member Taylor and a second by member King. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimous. Okay, the next item, number 7, was the Eagle Vista Future Land Use Map Amendment and Rezone. It says this item has been continued to a future date. So question, can we make a motion, attorney, can we make a motion to postpone to a date certain and not re-advertise, or do we just let it go?
So did the applicant indicate at all when their request was made? Because this request didn't come through me. Did they say whether they wanted a date certain or not? Because I know that there's a work group session with the commission next week, and these are all kind of considered together, the two applications, so I would recommend, just to save them money, to a date certain, but I'd put it out there, always.
Or suggest maybe the second meeting of September, which would be September 24th. To my knowledge, the applicant did not indicate a certain date certain.
Okay.
Just wanted it to be postponed.
Okay, so postpone to the date certain of September 24th. I have a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by member Maloney and a second by member Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Okay, the next item is the public hearing discussion decision, the agricultural protection zone areas, excuse me.
Good evening, Commissioners. Valerie Clausen with Planning Outpost. I had been tasked to complete this text amendment for the agricultural protection areas. Is there a presentation somewhere? Is it just in the packet? Can you scroll through it or not? Maybe to make it to you guys. Okay. You know, that's not looking familiar. Sure. Sorry, I sent it last week, but I'm sure maybe I sent it too soon. Let's see how quickly I can do this.
Wait, what are we looking for? It's not this?
Oh, it was a presentation.
Oh.
It was a presentation I'd sent, but
Oh.
it's all good. It's all good.
Let's do it from memory though.
Yep.
I have it here in front of me, so I don't have to really do it from memory. Okay, what's the email address in my? And then UTAA. And if not, you guys, it's not then. Yes. Okay. I'll just do it from here. No worries. Okay. So the agricultural protection areas, there were provisions in your current code. They just ended up they just weren't complete. So what this text amendment does is it completes the portion of that process. And so what you have before you was, you'll see what was existing. We did do it in legislative format so you could see those changes. And yeah, okay. And so the provisions talk about the purpose and intent, the establishment of the APA Advisory Board, which is 5 members from the County Conservation Board of Supervisors. And the property's eligibility to be in a agricultural protection zone, at least 5 contiguous acres, been in ag production at least 2 consecutive years, and then under the FAA Greenbelt, it's presumed to meet those ag standards. It also discusses who and how to file, the signature threshold, and the contents of the application. What is more restricted than state code is that non-consenting parcels will not be included in the boundaries. So state code would allow that, but direction from county said, no, don't bring anybody in that doesn't want that. Then notification requirements, the referral of the review evaluation criteria. There's a mandatory review time that has to be met, otherwise it's presumed to be approved. So by those unique circumstances where there's a 45-day time limit for those reviews to occur from both the APA Advisory Board and then the Planning Commission to make that recommendation to County Commission. Then there's a public hearing and the final action. It discusses the recordation effective date, the state coordination and fees, and then the process for either adding or removing from agricultural protection areas is included. And then just a provision about the annexed land and the periodic reviews that the county would be holding on these properties every 20 years. So that's the overview in regular language, and then you do have the actual text in your packet. So happy to answer questions.
So this is just to get your property at Greenbelt.
No. Greenbelt is a taxing thing. This is the land use component of an agricultural protection zone that allows the ag protection for these properties that want to be part of that.
So it protects agricultural land. Let's say if a pipeline wants to come through, if you're part of this agricultural protection area designation, you can stop that pipeline from coming through.
It kind of locks down the property from being rezoned, from being
Like Rocky Mountain Power can't come through?
They can do eminent domain.
They can do, yeah,
Eminent domain
but
is
like
still
the standard like if a city couldn't just come in and take it and be like, hey, we're rezoning this. I mean, it'd go through annexation or whatever, but it just really locks down the parcels to be agricultural.
It's just saying, if you can find an alternate route around, you need to use that, then go through this protected ag ground. Yes?
Kate Becker, Morgan County Manager. I'm the one that tasked Val to write this. The redneck dumbed down version of that is, the best example is Heber City, where that reroute of the highway is going. If those dairy farms had been in ag protection, it's almost as if a fake building was built on top of them. And so they can't just go, oh, that's the easiest path forward. No, you'd have to go through buildings in order to make that happen. If they had been in ag protection, there's no way UDOT could have chosen the route through the dairy fields to put that road. Developments here, developments happening is our only way to protect our farms from being the path of least resistance for development.
Would this protect them from something like MIDA coming in and saying they wanted to put a data center on them?
Okay, so that's a double-edged sword. The short answer is no. It would protect the water shares, but they can leave ag protection at any time.
Okay.
So there's an application process to get into ag protection, but they can send us, there's a very easy process to get out if the landowner wanted to sell their land and or water shares to do a project like that. However, there is a code text amendment for the county on data centers in the queue.
I know we talked about that last meeting, so, cool.
So it's pretty important to understand that we're not locking up anybody's property. This is a protection. There's no essential negative consequence except for the permit fee that you have to pay to put it in there. They can
And we
take it
don't
out
know
at
what
any
that
time.
fee is yet.
We do not, but as this is a pretty high priority of the county commission, it'll be fairly de minimis and probably not equal to the value of staff time.
Thank you. I do have a question. It's on page 3, under eligibility and qualifications, under 3, production level. Land included in the proposed agricultural protection area shall produce, but this or be capable of producing. I think it has to produce, because it has to be part of Greenbelt, the FAA.
It does not. So the ag protection and greenbelt are actually two separate things.
Yeah, but I thought you had to qualify under the Greenbelt to be able to put it in ag.
No, but the county is saying we want it to be similar, but they are two separate things. So if that language is actually probably taken from state code. But if you want it to not have the capable and be active, we can do that. Okay,
As a farmer, I disagree.
As a what?
As a farmer, I disagree, because we can sell our ag rights to the state and make our fields not produce at the request of the state and federal government. We don't get tax incentives for that, like we get paid in lieu of a crop. And this would still allow you to qualify for ag protection, even though your fields aren't sowable at that time.
CRP, baby.
Well, CRP, you can still qualify for Greenbelt, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
So I understand what you're saying.
the code is written so that like if you're green belted, you're assumed to qualify, but it works. It's not a mutually exclusive. Like you can be green belted, or you can be ag protected and not green belted. You could be green belted and not ag protected.
But if you're Greenbelt,
You probably you would be qualified.
you qualify for this. But this is a little broader. Capable of producing doesn't mean you're in CRP. I mean, just that land could possibly,
If you
under
decide-
some circumstance, produce something.
I mean, I look at where Jeff puts his cows and I try to figure out how they eat until it starts on fire. So it's capable
But
of producing.
grazing,
enough that you can-
yeah.
Grazing, yeah. But you can't plant alfalfa up there.
Well, I guess I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to have that in here as it's written. I mean, it's looser, and if the objective is to protect these areas, then why not have that in there?
I agree with you. Which is why I did not redline that section.
Okay, no, that's fine. And it has to have been qualifying agricultural production for at least 2 years. And that qualifying agricultural production then kind of falls back to the green belt qualifications of the 50%. Is that how I read this?
Relationship is that the land that currently is assessed under FAA shall be presumed to meet the ag use.
Yes.
And then, so this is in actually paragraph 5. Land that is not currently assessed may still qualify for ag protection if they're able to demonstrate. And then there's no guarantee that the ag is going to be.
So,
But you had to be 2 years actively devoted to agricultural use not just capable of producing. It talks about actively devoted to, and then now we say or capable of producing.
Correct. So like I can have 40 acres and run 2 goats on it. That wouldn't meet the qualification
Right.
of Greenbelt per AMU. But, or AUMs?
AUMs.
AUMs. Leave it to the government to add a bunch of letters. So it is capable of meeting the requirements of Greenbelt. Maybe I didn't want to run that many goats on my 40 acres. I just wanted not to keep the starfish.
So would it also include, like, if you used it for 2 years and then a year you didn't, and then the 4th year you applied for the agricultural protection zone, then that would still qualify?
I'm struggling to see how ag land wouldn't be used for.
You just let it sit.
Full of used for. Like right now, we've got somebody's goats and little peacocks at the fairgrounds because they're evacuated. I mean, if they were to stay there for more than a year, or more than half of a year, they don't know what they're qualified.
So paragraph, or D1 talks about the area. Paragraph, the section 2, on A, land proposed for inclusion shall be actively devoted to agricultural use with a reasonable expectation of profit from agricultural production. B, it has to be, land shall have been in qualifying agricultural production for at least 2 consecutive years immediately preceding the filing date for the proposal. And C, the 2-year periods may be demonstrated through documentation, blah, blah, blah. So this kind of flies in the face of capable.
Yes.
This says you gotta be
Shall.
doing it. So if the intent is to be capable, then you got conflicting things here, it appears.
Delta 1 versus. Sorry, I missed the.
Section
D2.
2.
It uses shall be actively devoted.
And then 3 kind of conflicts with that, with 2.
If it doesn't want to stay.
So it seems like we need to make up our minds.
Because for Greenbelt, on average, you need the 50% utilization of that ground, that ground is capable of producing at, you have to use at least 50%, whether it's AUM or crops, tonnage per acre. So you can't be part of Greenbelt if your ground is just capable of producing that. You actually have to produce it.
But that's Greenbelt.
But it does
That's
state
Greenbelt.
this
They
here.
use Greenbelt to qualify. Is how I read this, but maybe not.
Partially, I mean, yeah.
Partially.
It does.
Similar
it could say that.
requirements,
And
but I just think
You're
there's
in
a
Greenbelt,
problem
it's
here.
assumed.
Yeah, I just think there's a problem here.
2 and 3, yeah, contradict, yeah.
Contradict.
yeah, we can
It should,
clean that up and take those parts out, but it's going to be leaning toward the less restrictive than Greenbelt.
We'll point towards the
The
production.
production,
Section 3 versus 2.
yes.
2 alpha.
okay.
So then if someone like had a 6-acre property and they had their 1-acre house on it, which they could do for Greenbelt, and they're, I guess, it's, maybe they're not claiming in Greenbelt, we're saying they're not, but they say it's capable of producing because you have a 6-acre property, could they put that in ag in our county?
That's
Even if
ultimately
it's
what contiguous 5
zoned R5 or R10, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's not ag land in the county, our zoning doesn't match that, but we have lots that are that way, that would be included in this, correct?
If they have 5 contiguous acres, that can be used for ag production, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Jeremy's gonna yell at me because I'm not talking about money.
And-
However, if part of that 5 acres is your, what did we just talk about, the poles made out of the storage container, that's not a watering trough. It doesn't meet the definition.
So would a 5-acre parcel with a house on it then count? Because I know it doesn't for Greenbelt.
No.
Okay.
Need a minimum of 5. It
Plus an acre for a house.
And it takes out the homestead.
Okay, okay, there you go. So it's the same, similar.
Same.
Out the
Same.
building envelope, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, so 5 agricultural acres
Correct.
minimum.
But a house with 5 acres on it could be considered.
No,
A house with the 6.
I mean, the 6. A house is 1 acre plus 5 acres could be, which there are places in our county that are, or 10 acres with a house. Deep Creek.
Okay, I have another question on page 5. Okay, it's going to be under G, but it's number 6. A statement identifying any requested limitation on the types of agricultural production to be allowed. So the property owner decides which ones. I can see that the problem is, I think it's the state, the protection areas, they have those 3 protection areas, the industrial and the critical infrastructure materials, and then ag, and they've lumped them together, where I can see in the material, the critical infrastructure material, your gravel pits, where you'd want to limit which you could mine, but in agriculture, I
And God does that for us.
well, yes, exactly. I agree.
But this is a voluntary
As is the
thing?
water
Yeah, but
source.
why would, it doesn't make any sense, but I guess it not hurt anything.
Like, why would anybody
Limit.
submit a statement on number 6 that says anything other than anything I want?
There you go.
Anything other than sheep.
Or, no, just, you're requesting a limitation, so I would say, I don't want anything limited.
So it is,
Yeah.
it is your recommendation to remove 6.
No, I
Well,
don't care if 6
I-
is there, I'm just wondering how to,
You could ignore it, but it doesn't make sense why you'd want to
Yeah, we
limit her.
what's the point? Why would somebody limit themselves?
Yeah.
Is there a benefit to limiting themselves?
Can you have a group of people come together and ask that all their property be in an agricultural protection area?
You know,
So
like
you
a
might
bunch of
not-
1 acre lots?
I think this one says, no, it has to be the same. Same owner name. That's what this one says.
No,
Same owner name with the 5 contiguous. But typically you're coming in with these farms, farmers that have lots of property.
But they don't, it says it can't, okay, now I'm confused. 'Cause I read it and it said it had to have the same name on all the parcels.
It's a group, well, on E is who may file, any owner or group of owners.
But you can have multiple owners on a parcel. That's how I read it. But I don't think you can bring different owner neighbors to do one.
And we looked
I
at
think
it
you do
as
separate.
a development. So like Cottonwoods has multiple property owners,
Okay.
but they're one development.
So that's what subsection H signature threshold is addressing?
Because anyone can take their section out of, it's just a way to do it all in bulk without having to pay, everyone have to pay an individual fee.
But each individual property has to be independently capable of meeting the criteria.
Right, that's where I was about to go.
Yeah.
Is that like you could have areas that
Sorry.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm so sorry because it's a hot mic once you're in there, right? So that's exactly what I was going to explain. It has to be the minimum of 5 contiguous for that property owner, but then under state code here, you actually can have an entire area of a group of these farmers coming
They have
together and then petitioning under the same protection area, because there is like a life to it. There's that 20-year review cycle. So what I've typically seen is the group coming in together, and then if something does happen and one of the farmers like, yeah, I'm out, they can be pulled out pretty easy. There's nothing here that
But they have to, each has to have at least a minimum of 5.
yes.
And because they
Can't
each
combine
have a
them.
minimum of 5, they each independently meet the criteria.
Correct.
One of them pulling out won't crash the whole
No.
application.
No, and in some cases, like I said, with the state law, you can even almost kind of like how an annexation pulls people in there, like, oh, I don't really know I want to be that. There is, through state law, kind of that way, but the county's like, no, we really do want everybody that's like going to be in it to be signing and okay with it.
That was the question I was waiting for, and let's address it now. How can you have a situation where the state allows something and the county says no?
County can make it more strict.
More
You can't
stringent,
make it
less.
More strict?
Be more stringent.
Sorry, Jeremy.
And do each of the parcels have to qualify on their own, like that 50%?
Well, they
production?
would. They would, because you're contiguous 5 acres over the 50%.
Each owner, that owner can't rely on the neighbor doing it at 100%, is what production.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not an average, it's each property has to hit that.
That's what I'm trying to,
I guess the question is, if they don't, their parcel automatically? But the application had already been approved, and then they don't do it, do they automatically get removed?
Sorry, to clarify your question. If after the fact they
Yeah.
are put into APA, they cease to continue producing, and they put their giant swimming pool in the middle of their 5-acre lot.
Right.
Does it kick out everybody or just that parcel? That's your question?
That's my question.
Hey, can I,
It's reviewed every 20 years. I mean, like, I don't know that there's a strong enforcement.
And then
I
no
don't
longer
even think they
contiguous.
get kicked out unless they request it and it's reviewed.
That's-
And that's where it's capable of being, once you're in, as long as it's capable, yeah, I think you're in.
I would think that if you wanted to do something on that property and they no longer meet the criteria for being in that, I would guess that you could probably be challenged that that shouldn't apply to them. Interesting, I was just looking at a summary of the benefits here, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. It's not me, it's this thing that I just looked up. But here's why somebody would want to put it in. A nuisance shield. Farms are protected from public or private nuisance claims regarding standard noises, odors, or dust. Number 2, zoning protection. Land inside an APA cannot be rezoned by a local government without the written consent of all affected landowners. Number 3, regulation limits. State agencies and local political subdivisions cannot pass laws that unreasonably restrict standard farming practices or structures. I thought that was interesting, the structures part. Number 4, eminent domain restrictions. Government bodies face strict notification and review hurdles if they attempt to condemn APA land for non-agricultural uses. And the last one, neighbor notification. I thought this was interesting. Nearby property buyers must receive notice that they are moving adjacent to an active farm. So that's something that we would have to
And
incorporate.
that already is in the code.
What is
It's
that?
already being
So
done.
it's adjacent to, meaning touching,
they kind of have a right to farm.
but it's just touching. Not within 1,000 feet, not within, it's touching.
Touching.
I don't know.
I didn't touch that one. There's-
Bordering, yeah,
It's in the code.
it is
It's
in the
subdivision
code,
section.
and you'll see it a lot on the plats.
Yeah.
So to give a local example of something that could have been protected if the parcel was an APA, is when they built out all that 100 here, the city passed an ordinance that would not let them combine past dark. But they built into ag area, and this would have protected that. You're building in our backyard. You don't get to complain when the wind's just right at the dairy, because the rest of us, it smells like money. So, like, you've moved into an ag area. If you're gonna build a subdivision, right next to the milk barn, yeah, it's gonna smell. If you're gonna move and love the fact that you're surrounded by alfalfa fields, yeah, we combine until we run out of gas. And then we'll still probably go in and get some and keep combining because we have lights for a reason. But the city prohibited that because this parcel wasn't an ag protection. We can't say we're an ag-friendly community and then not have an APA. For as ag as we are, we don't have a single parcel in ag protection because we don't have an APA code text.
That's my TED Talk, thank you.
Well, they have changed the code, the state changed the code that, because when we first put it in,
They changed the liability code.
well, as far as the protection area, the landowner could put it in, but it was only the legislative body that could take it out, and they could choose not to. That's how it was originally written, and they have changed it, thank goodness.
I thought you were talking about the right to
No, this. The state has changed it since it was first. But I have a question, if, like you say, one landowner pulling out, what if it's no longer contiguous then? It doesn't matter, if that's,
The state code, yeah, has a provision that that's.
okay. I guess, and I mean, it can leave it in, it's not hurting anything, but I still don't, the limitations on agriculture production permitted in the area, but. Because it is also brought up on page 8 of 10, under 5, any proof shall identify the boundaries is fine, and any limitations of the agriculture production. But I don't know if it,
Well, I mean, we would have to at least keep any approval shall identify the boundaries.
yeah, the boundaries need to stay in, but that,
The limitations.
yeah.
But the limitations, doesn't that refer back to the owner saying, hey, this is all we want on here?
Yes, what I'm saying. Like,
That's what
You're gonna remove.
Does it, or does it imply that somebody else has the ability to apply limitations to this?
I think it's be the owner, that's how, I don't know.
think
I don't know.
Reading it in the full context, it would relate back to the owner's statement about what they can do.
Okay,
Sounds like a good thing.
yeah, that's all I had marked up. Does anyone else have? It's a good thing.
What are we looking for here?
Yep.
So moved.
I have a motion by Member Taylor
Second.
and a second by Member King. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are now in public hearing. If anyone has a comment, now's the time to come forward. Again, state your name into the mic, and you're limited to 3 minutes. Nobody online? Okay. Okay, seeing no comments, motion to go out of public hearing.
Motion.
Okay, motion by Member Watt and a second by Member King.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You're out of public hearing.
The Honorable Tina Kelly pointed out to me that in section D, sub 1, sub Bravo Charlie, it implies that it has to be one owner. So we will likely
That's what I
rewrite that. as
thought
well.
I read
didn't-
it somewhere.
yeah. So we'll likely
Thank
amend
you.
that.
Thought it was crazy.
They're pretty handy.
Like I said, I thought I had read it somewhere, so, okay.
So Chair, if I can just recap the notes for us anyway. So section Delta sub 1, B and C, clarify the language so that it's clear that it is not one owner. Section, where are we? Delta sub 3, production level remove, as it conflicts with 2A. In section Golf sub 6, remove, as that is the limitation on ag use. And on section Lima? Okay, yeah. Lima sub 5, redact after and any ag protection area, redact, and any limitations on the agricultural production permitted within the area.
Okay,
Did I miss any notes?
I think we got them all.
Applicant would request recommendation to the county commission.
We have one on the screen. We just-
I don't think the motion, they don't have a motion, so someone's gonna have to,
I'll move to recommend with the change Kate just stated
county commission.
to the county commission, or whoever needs it.
Second.
A motion by member Taylor and a second by member Maloney. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you for your review and the notes.
Thank you. Okay, next is business and staff questions. Do you have anything for us? Okay, so minutes, ready for motion to approve minutes?
So moved.
A motion by member Maloney,
All second.
a second by member King. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Motion by member King, second by member Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
We are